Have you ever wondered how people score free tickets to NYC's talk shows? This includes Kelly Clarkson, Drew Barrymore, Seth Meyers, and Jimmy Fallon. I'm going to break down exactly how to get these tickets and what you can expect from those 4 shows in particular. If you're visiting New York, or even if you live there and you're looking for some free entertainment and you have some extra hours on your hand, go ahead and listen up, because I'm going to let you know how you can get entry to these events. It's so fun. Whenever I have someone visiting me in New York, I like to have us go to at least one of these shows, especially if it's on the wish list of the person who's visiting. I'm going to let you know what the check-in process is like, which ones will give you a free gift, what time commitment you really need to expect. Is the timing on the ticket that you sign up for accurate? Let's get into it. Kelly Clarkson show. So you're going to want to get your tickets on iota.com. And this is true for all of them. So one, you don't spell it out. It's just one, iota.com. And from there, you search by where you live. They have it in LA as well as New York, and sometimes other cities pop in there. But for our purposes, we're talking about NYC. And then sometimes you have to be on the lookout for when they're taping. They're not necessarily taping year round, it's seasonal. So if you don't see any of these particular shows when you log in, just know, check in a month, 2 months, 3 months, and so on. And they tend to book days in a row, multiple shows a day sometimes. And this was the case with Kelly Clarkson. So Kelly Clarkson, of the 4, she was the most uninhibited. She said very un-PC things that were just funny. She talked about being a stripper and, things that won't make it to air. And she also said that she was sick. She admitted she might have COVID. It was that sort of unfiltered. Kelly Clarkson, she's done her fair share of public speaking, but she is first and foremost a singer. So that does translate into the really conversational vibe of her show. Something that I wasn't expecting was that there are 2 tapings. The early taping is when she sings. So I like to sleep in. I did the second taping of the day, and it turned out that she didn't sing at all. But you did get to see the transitions. So she did tape during the second taping, her talking about what she was going to sing. And then we saw the video. So if you really want to hear her sing, go to the first one. And the second one, we got to see all of the guests that she was interviewing live. So, pick your poison, whatever you prefer. And she was one of the hosts that did give us a gift. The morning gift looked like it was a portable blender, which I was very excited about. They took it out when they were setting up, and then I realized, oh shoot, that's not actually what we're getting. And we got a book, a Cinco de Mayo book, which was cool. But I was like, oh, I kind of wish we got the first one. But grateful for the free gift. It's a book that is substantial. It will be on my future coffee table. And they were kind of chill with asking you to laugh and things like that. It wasn't too intense. It was kind of the run-of-the-mill, what you'd expect. And the show, it says check-in starts at this time. We arrived 30 minutes early before the start of check-in, which you should absolutely do for any of these things. The start of check-in, if you arrive then, it's too late. You may not get it unless you're VIP. So Kelly Clarkson, I don't believe they had a VIP option. I think it was all general admission anyway. So we get there a half an hour early, and we made it in. And I think we were in the first third of people that showed up, because you're not guaranteed entry with these things. You have to be prepared to get there nice and early. And then even when you do check in, you have about 2 hours until showtime. And then the show itself for Kelly Clarkson, I want to say it was it's always in between 1 and 2 hours. But because it was half of a show, I'll tell you later which ones where you will actually see multiple shows in one sitting. But no, this was half of one show, which I found interesting. Yeah, it was a nice big auditorium setup, similar to Drew Barrymore in terms of how big it was. And I mean, she looked like she was having fun. And there were quite a few times when she had to start over. I think it's because she was sick. She had a little bit of brain fog, but it was fun, conversational. And if you don't mind missing her singing, go to the later portion. If you really want to see her sing, like a very mini concert, then go to the first one of the day. Drew Barrymore, similarly to Kelly Clarkson, we got a free gift. I'm just going to put that out there at the beginning. And what was it? Tupperware from her brand Beautiful at Walmart. I'm excited to use it. I haven't used it yet, but very functional. And it was so funny. So how we won it was there was a school teacher in the audience who was up for winning a trip to Hawaii. Don't know how they sourced her or how she got in the running, but it was so cool. And then they asked her a question, and then they went to a break. And then when they came back, she knew the answer. So take of that what you will, but I don't think we were going to lose that day. And Drew Barrymore is a true professional. Their show has 9 Emmys, and you can tell why. They had someone warming up the crowd. So out of all of them, they were the most intentional and diligent. And I will say, when we were in the holding room, they gave us snacks. No one else gave us snacks, spoiler alert. So you have to bring your own snacks or you'll be hungry. This is like a 4 to 5 hour experience, people. But anyway, we got Siete chips. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And then some people, not everyone, got these little like Game Boy like things to take part in polls, but there weren't enough. I didn't get one. But then the person that was warming us up, he's like, oh, you have one less task to do. Good for you. And I was like, I don't want to vote, but whatever. So yeah, they were the most intense about being very clear on, okay, this is when you should laugh. This is when you should go, oh, this is when, oh my goodness, I was getting tired. They were so intense about it. Like part of me is like, can you use a laugh track? But then I realized the people up there feed on our energy. And Drew Barrymore did the opposite of Kelly Clarkson. So Kelly Clarkson's up there doing a half show. She did 2 shows in that one sitting. Well, to be fair, she's not doing a musical act or anything like that, but it was also in a similarly large space. And she was life coaching people in between sessions. And it was so fun. She was like, hey, even though I've had my own trials in love, I have really good advice. And she was like, I'm going to own that. She's like, hey, who wants love advice from me? And, she talked to a few like, hey, who's a single woman in the audience? And it was fun. It was fun. Actually, after the show, I ended up running into, because, you're all out at the same time, this one woman that she had asked about her singlehood. And I was like, wow, like, were you expecting that? She's like, absolutely not. And yeah, she makes small talk with the audience and there's never a dull moment. She does not go backstage to get a breather, to catch a breather. It's 2 straight hours of her go, 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 go. And I think there was only one time when she flubbed her words and she didn't skip a beat. She immediately said, redo that. And then she said it again the way she wanted to say it. I'm like, dang, professionalism. She really wants to connect with her audience. She was so thankful that we were there. And I mean, similar to Kelly Clarkson, just like, thank you for being here. And you were like, dang, like she cares. And, cool. They were cool guests. Well, oh, I forgot to mention Kelly Clarkson. Maya Rudolph was one of the guests. And then when it comes to Drew Barrymore, who stood out as one of the guests, Catherine Zeta-Jones's husband, forgot his name for a sec, but you know who that is. And it was just such feel-good vibes that I would recommend it in a heartbeat. It was so fun. Third is Seth Meyers. I will say he was the funniest of all 4. He genuinely did some stand-up and I was laughing. I couldn't help but laugh. And again, you want to get there at least 30 minutes before they say you should get there. Don't think they had a VIP option, but yeah, my friends and I got in and it was about a 4-hour commitment. The show itself was maybe an hour 15. And it was in a much smaller room than Kelly and Drew. It was, just because they don't need a lot of set changes, I guess. It's just what you see is what you get. And oh yeah, I think they also had a live band, The Roots. Unless I'm getting that confused with Jimmy Fallon, which I could be. But there was also a musical guest, if I remember correctly. And it did stand up about COVID. And it was just like very, very funny, very well timed. I can totally tell that he used to be on SNL because his timing was impeccable. Ooh, you know what? Who were his guests? I don't think I went there for the guests that time. I don't know, some 20-something heartthrob male actor. But yeah, I had a good time. It went by, time just flew because he was so funny and professional. And then, he did some Q&A at the end and, it was fun. He seems very comfortable in his own skin, which makes it a lot more comfortable for you to be in the audience watching his comedy. And I also noticed handwritten cue cards. I'm like, has someone had a bad experience with these cue cards not working out? And actually, I think that Jimmy Fallon did the same thing. Unlike Drew and Kelly, they had a teleprompter. So anyway, let's get to it. Number 4 is Jimmy Fallon. So it's not a contest, but Seth Meyers was absolutely funnier. Like he just was. However, the guest was slightly more epic. Doja Cat was his co-host. He did different comedy acts, different personas. And I was like, ooh, this is like the best one that I could have gotten. And that one, I believe, had a VIP and a general admission. And here's the thing, when a VIP is available, you want to get there extra early. So I want to say we got there like 45 minutes early because all the VIP people are getting in. They have their own line. And then the GA starts. And I knew from being in line at Drew Barrymore, in the wrong line, unfortunately, in GA, and I didn't get in. So I'm like, ooh, there's a chance. Most of the time, you're carving so much time out of your day, just be early and like make that work for you. But the good thing is, if you don't get in, like with Drew Barrymore, then they gave me priority for the next time. So I definitely got into Drew Barrymore the next time. But I wonder if anyone has ever been VIP and not gotten in. I don't think that's the case because they don't want you to have two experiences of carving out your whole day and then not making it. And Jimmy Fallon's studio was this very similar to Seth Meyers, like small, borderline intimate, not a lot of set changes. And there was a musical guest, and I remember him and Doja Cat, like they left and bowed and everything. And then there was this musical guest, and it was kind of interesting. I guess they performed for us twice because the first time they performed, background, they had this video going and it was like in slow motion. And I was like, oh, interesting. But it's weird because they gave us a notice. It's going to flash on the screen and be prepared. And then it didn't flash on screen. And I didn't think much of it. But then the next time they performed, it was because, oh, I think they had to press the button to speed up the visuals behind them. And then I was like, oh, that's the one that people are going to end up seeing when it goes live. Doja Cat, yeah, she wasn't the musical guest, but she was really fun to see. And then it was so funny because my friends and I who went to see it, then after we were walking around, she didn't make it that far. We walked like a half mile and she was signing albums in an Urban Outfitters. There was a huge crowd up against the window. People were trying to break in. It was kind of scary, but I was like, what's going on? I peeked in. I'm like, oh, there she is. She's wearing the same thing. She was wearing a great outfit. Like it was shiny tights and like glittery things and like business casual 80s on the top. And then who even knows what was going on the bottom. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I could just tell that Jimmy Fallon was, during Q&A and stuff, he was just a little less personable in my opinion, but people were very invested in learning about his personal life and asking them questions. So, he's a professional, but I do think he is a bit more of a people pleaser with his guests than Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers like goes there and it's fun to watch. But yeah, Jimmy Fallon is pleasant for his guests. And I think people can feel safe with him. There you have it. That is what to expect when you go to your New York talk show experience. And I think for me, as a New York resident currently, I can go for one or two in a month maximum. And maybe it's going to get old and then it'll be like once a quarter, once a year, but it is fun. It does take a lot of time though. So I wish that there was some way to pay for it, but I guess it doesn't work that way. And you just need to dedicate the time to, you can maybe get some work done while you're waiting a couple hours in the waiting area. And I forgot to mention, some of the waiting areas are actually really nice. There's cushioned seats. There's a place where you can take pictures of yourself and other guests, and they make a little video for you. So, you're not totally out of luck, but yeah, you need to eat before, for sure, and bring snacks, because think about it, for 4 to 5 hours, they're not feeding you and you can't leave to go get food, even though they have a great food court downstairs that I think it's CNBC Studios. Like everyone that works there, I'm like, good for you. You have a great food court. But anyway, let me know if you've seen one. Let me know about your experience, or if you want to see one, which one is most appealing to you. All right. Wishing you a wonderfully connected and entertained day. Until next time.